Hey, this is Ian. I'm the head pro at EssentialTennis.com, where it's our mission to bring passionate instruction to passionate tennis players just like you. Welcome to this episode of Ask Ian, where we're going to be answering a question from Harish, who wrote in and said, how do I raise my game when it requires a switch of gears? I've heard in TV commentary and from others that switching gears when required may be required, but I feel like I play in cruise mode, the same intensity all the time. I always try and give my 100%. That's good, and there's cons to this approach as well. I do not have anything more in my armory to throw at my opponent. I feel like I can't raise my game anymore. Can you please give me some insights on this? Yes, I like your idea of a cruise control or a cruise mode very much, but if you start off at 100% intensity, then that's absolutely a recipe for disaster, really for two main reasons. Number one, the one that you mentioned, Harish, you've got nowhere to go from there. And so you may start off like gangbusters, playing really, really well and feeling good, but if your opponent finds an extra gear, or if maybe your game starts not feeling quite so comfortable, you've got nowhere to go from there as far as intensity is concerned. And so, in my experience, managing your intensity level is very, very important. If you start off too low, then you can find yourself really kind of lagging behind and having a hard time getting into a match. If you start off too high, then you have nowhere to go from there as far as raising your level of intensity. The other big problem with starting at 100% is a lot of times you'll get into a slump this way because you just burn yourself out as you progress throughout the match. You might start off feeling great and hitting the ball well, and you've got a high level of energy and intensity, but you can't keep up 100% for very long, certainly not for an hour and a half or 2 hours straight. There needs to be some kind of give and take as far as your level of intensity is concerned. So if you start off just all in, 100% full throttle, I can promise you that towards the end of that first set, you're probably going to have some kind of letdown because it's just a natural thing to happen. Nobody can keep that state of a heightened awareness for long periods of time. So my suggestion to you would be to start off somewhere like in the 60 to 70% range. I would definitely recommend somewhere above halfway up the scale of intensity. You don't want to be down at 30, 40% unless, no, I'm just gonna say across the board, I really wouldn't recommend anything below 50% because it's just very easy to get stuck in kind of a lethargic mode like that. And when the time comes where you really have to reach down deep and pull out a great point or a great game or a great shot, it's not easy for most people to just turn it on and find that next gear, maybe 4 or 5 gears above where you started. So I would recommend experiment with this. And by the way, this is kind of a personality thing as well. Some players perform really, really well when they are kind of withdrawn and they're more quiet. They don't engage with the crowd at all. They don't really get themselves pumped up or fired up at all. They're very even. Other players need some energy and they need some kind of outward show of enthusiasm, and so their intensity level is just naturally a little bit higher. So I would suggest to you that you experiment with this, but 100% is absolutely not reasonable. I would say 90% not reasonable, 80% probably not for many people. Is that going to work throughout an entire match? Start off around 60, 70, somewhere in there, experiment with it, and if it turns out that you're winning the match at 60% intensity, then great. Keep that cruise control on and just ride it all the way to the finish line. If it turns out that your opponent finds another gear themselves and you need to raise your intensity level a little bit, then you've got some place to go from there. Hopefully that's helpful. I've got a link to some free coaching on the mental game in the description down below. Check that out. You'll get 3 free videos, and I'm sure that'll be helpful to you as well. Thank you so much for writing in with your question, Harish. If you're watching and you've enjoyed this video, do me a favor and click like, and leave any comments or questions that you may have down in the section below. Also, if you have any topics that you think would be good for an episode of Ask Ian, let me know what that would be down below as well. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, and good luck with your tennis. For hundreds of free digital tennis lessons, head over to EssentialTennis.com right now. More wins and more fun on the court is right around the corner. You'll even get a free gift just for stopping by. Simply click the link at the top of any page.